This week we are talking all about crystal clear manifesting the waxing moon and actually delving a little bit into the April astrology to help you power up your intentions. Hello and welcome to the Mainly Moonology podcast. I'm Yasmin Boland, your guide to helping you work with the moon, astrology, and all things manifesting. Today, we're diving into the powerful waxing moon phase that we are in right now, post the eclipse, and also the amazing astrology that is coming up over the next 7 days, all of which will actually set the ground for getting super clear on your intentions, working towards whatever it is you said you wanted to work towards, getting aligned, taking aligned action, and really charging up your manifesting ahead of the coming full moon. So I also have something for you, which is my new and full moon crystal grids PDFs, which I'm going to tell you about. They are now available completely free and you can grab them. Well, let me give you the address. You can grab them at moonmessages.com/moongrids. Moon grids, because they're crystal grids for working with the moon. So we'll put a link in the description. I will tell you more about them in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about what the moon is doing now. So right now we are in the waxing crescent phase of the moon, moving towards the first quarter moon ahead of the coming full moon. So this is the time when the moon is growing in light and we are actually being asked in a way to grow up. So if you set intentions at the last full moon, which was last week's eclipse, or you made some new moon wishes before that, the idea is that now you get really clear. Do you still want this? Are you still going for it? And you start nurturing them, okay? It's about taking small but meaningful, inspired action steps towards whatever you are saying you want to manifest. It's really like saying, I'm showing the universe that I mean it. This is really something I want, and taking the steps. And I always talk about the woo-woo and the work. Well, the woo-woo was we made our intentions. Well, in my members area, we did that. We talked about it on the podcast last week. But, we set intentions, we send them out to the universe. And then this week it's time for the rubber to meet the road as we do the work that it's going to require to make those dreams real. The woo-woo is sending those intentions out to the universe. Neuroscience has now shown us that sending intentions out to the universe is not baloney for anyone who was very critical about such things. If you don't believe me, read a book called Mind Magic by Dr. James Doty, and you will see that this stuff actually works. So now is also a really good time to check in with your wishes. So are they still something that you really want? Do you still feel excited by them? Okay. If not, then maybe you need to make some adjustments. There's absolutely nothing wrong with refining your intentions as your clarity deepens, especially at the moment. Of course, we have Mercury and Venus retrograde. So it's a time where we might be rethinking what we really, really want. And if you're not quite sure about what you want, don't panic, because actually the astrology this week is going to help bring greater clarity. Okay, especially because Mercury retrograde is ending. Okay, and it's going to come through hopefully in a really beautiful and soulful way. All right, so before we go any further, let's talk about what the planets are doing. Let's talk about the stars, because they are lining up in some very helpful ways this week. And even though this is the Mainly Moonology podcast, I love to keep you abreast of what's going on with the planets. So the first thing is that Mercury is going direct in Pisces on April 7. I'm putting this one first. It's not the first thing chronologically, but it's kind of the headline. It's really very big. If you've been feeling fuzzy-headed or confused, or like your intentions have maybe been floating off in space with no clear plan, That has been Mercury retrograde in Pisces. But now this week, Mercury will start to move forwards again. Not fast, very slowly, but surely. And as that happens, we will all hopefully get a wave of kind of spiritual clarity, let's say, because Mercury going forwards will bring clarity, and it's in the sign of the very spiritual sign of Pisces. Okay, so hopefully we're going to start to get insights and even some kind of like intuitive understandings about what we want, how to get it. You know, maybe we're going to be doing more soul work, talking to our higher self, talking to our other people's higher selves. What's coming now with the end of Mercury retrograde in Pisces, it's not like clarity on a spreadsheet, okay? It's really clarity from the soul. I mean, I can't really say it differently to that. Pisces is a very soulful sign. You know, it's like the knowing that comes sometimes when you sit in silence or you meditate and a message just drops in during a meditation. So I think the bottom line here with Mercury in Pisces coming to an end is trust what you feel and what you think and feel emotional about this week. Inner guidance is going to be extra strong. Clarity is going to start to return, and it's all this is really guiding us towards what is really meant for us. Okay, so now just to backtrack, that's April 7th. The day before, we actually have a lovely link that I just want to mention really quickly if you want to put this in your diary. Speaking of which, you can put it in your Moonology diary. It is actually sold out pretty much everywhere, but I just couldn't help but mention that. So we have Sun sextile Jupiter. This is a really beautiful energy. It's optimistic, it's lucky, it's perfect for taking action. If there's something you've been wanting to move forwards with, whether it's a dream you've had, which is very Piscean, a desire, one of your new moon wishes, taking that action steps, a decision as Mercury retrograde ends. This is like a green light from the cosmos, let's say. Also, April 6th, Venus trines Mars, okay? So this brings harmony between the masculine and the feminine. So if you're dealing with someone of the opposite sex in particular, even though it's very dangerous to talk about sex these days, but you know what I mean. If there's a kind of a yin and a yang, a black and a white, a feminine and a masculine feeling, anything like that, it's a beautiful moment for relationships, for creativity, and any rituals where you're balancing action and surrender, okay? Because Mars is very action-oriented and surrender is more feminine, or you could say we're balancing action and attraction. So that fine line between seeking something, chasing it, and letting it come to you, okay? It's really a time as well to kind of align your heart, which is Venus, and your determination to achieve something. It's kind of a really interesting time from that perspective. And I feel like that's something we could almost talk about for hours. Let me just briefly say it's a bit like sometimes we really want things. And I'm just going to talk to the women in the audience for a moment, or the people who identify as women. I think in 2025, there are a lot of women out there who kind of in their masculine, you know, sometimes you just have to be. Because, and I don't want to get into gender politics and gender wars, you know, I just really, please don't. If you don't like what I'm saying, just, you know, hit stop because I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm just trying to say that quite often you find that women, including people like me, you know, you're running a business, you've got to keep the house going, you're looking after your partner, you're looking after your kids, you're doing all this stuff. You have to kind of be like a masculine energy, a Mars energy that's going for it and getting it all done and ticking off the list and all that, you know. And the Venus energy is really different. It's the mother's touch, it's the softness, it's the caresses, you know, and it can be the father's gentle side as well, but it's a much softer thing, and instead of chasing, it attracts. So just try and think about balancing that in your life this week. You won't go wrong, you know, regardless of who you may be. So then on April 7, we get a pretty interesting one. We get also on April 7, we get Venus conjunct Saturn. It's a bit of a day for the diary. So this is intense. It only happens about once a year, except that Venus is retrograde at the moment, so it's possibly not just once a year. This is such a good time to commit to what you love, okay? Because Saturn is all about commitments and Venus is about love. And that includes whatever you're manifesting and your manifesting process, you know? So if there's something you really want, now's the time to anchor it with a ritual, bring it into the physical, something like that. So this is also why this is the perfect week for me to introduce you to my new free new and full moon crystal grids, okay? So crystal grids really are sacred tools for anchoring intentions into the material world. Again, more on that in a minute. I just want to keep going. Finally, the last date I wanted to mention is April 8, when Venus sextiles Uranus. So at this time, really, the catchphrase is expect the unexpected, especially around love, money, and creativity. Okay, so Venus, planet of love and abundance, Uranus, the planet of crazy, 5 cups of crazy. This energy is fresh, exciting, change making, and it invites you to try something different. And remember, Venus is retrograde, so it might be a second chance that you've been waiting for. So with the crystal grids, if you've never done one, it could be the moment to do it as well, because it's something a bit different. Okay, so let me continue and talk about rituals, okay? Because what can you do with all of this magical energy? Yes, you can make a crystal grid. So if you're not familiar, a crystal grid is a sacred arrangement of crystals in a geometric pattern, often put onto a beautiful base. I have a couple of different bases. I've got one that is made of wood and has, I think, the flower of life. I think it's got carved into it. I've got another which is selenite, which I just bought online, and it's got the zodiac signs carved in there. And you can even just use a printout on a sheet of A4 paper. In fact, in my crystal grids thing that I'm offering you this week, because I've just done it, I'm very excited about it, 99% sure you get a crystal grid template to print out. So basically that geometric pattern on the printout or on the grid helps you to know where to put your crystals, and the crystals help you to focus and amplify your intentions. So I'll talk about these more at the next new moon or full moon or whatever, but even now, in the middle of the waxing cycle, they are so powerful to use. You can think of a crystal grid sort of like, I don't know, like a vision board made of energy. How about that? The crystals actually have something called piezoelectricity, and they act like energetic amplifiers, right? The crystal grid itself actually creates a vortex, okay? I mean, you can measure the energy of crystals, okay? And it creates it's like a wish manifesting machine, in my humble opinion. And it can really amplify your desires. And I like to think, send your wish out into the universe. So, as I said, I've created a beautiful printable crystal grids PDF. Actually, I've created 2, one for the new moon, one for the full moon, and you can get them for free this week. I'm not sure how long it's going to be free for, but they're for free right now. I'd probably leave them free, but you never know. moonmessages.com/moon-grids. moonmessages.com/moon-grids. I will talk more about them as the weeks go on, because I know lots of people love crystals, and I love the idea of helping you boost your manifesting and your moonology with crystals. But for now, just download, print out the grid, choose your crystals. You can, even if you just already got some crystals, you can just use those, because they will be the right crystals. Although I do give you some ideas for crystals as well, particular crystals for use for the new moon, particular crystals to use for the full moon. Place them on your grid. Okay, you can put that on your altar if you have one, or, you know, just on your dressing table, or, you know, kitchen table, whatever. All right. Or you can even, you know, put them on a windowsill. That can work if you've got a nice big windowsill. You'll also get guidance in the PDFs on then what to do at the new moon versus the full moon with the crystals, because of course, energetically, they are quite different. So really, I would love you to take me up on this, moonmessages.com/moon grids, because this really is a powerful week for manifesting. The waxing moon is helping us all to just build momentum on the wishes that we hopefully put in place at the new moon eclipse. And if you didn't, it's fine. Just think now, what do I want? And what am I doing about it? Okay, Mercury going direct in Pisces is bringing us that intuitive clarity. And the Venus retrograde transits are calling us to recommit to what we love, you know? It's a really interesting time energetically. It's forward, back, forward, back. What did the past teach you? Good. Go to the past, clear the past, make way for the future. And if you're ready to ground your intentions and work with crystals, grab the Moonology crystal grids. I really hope that you feel inspired to use this energy. I really want to encourage everyone who loves crystals to work with crystals in their manifesting. It will help you step into your power and it will really help you boost your magic. Honestly, it will. Until next time, keep your intentions clear, your heart open, and your crystals charged. Lots of love.